As the NBA's moratorium period comes to an end, Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder officially announced their acquisition of Pacers forward Paul George in exchange for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Pacers GM Kevin Pritchard had this to say on George's time in Indiana. As for the trade, it was difficult both on a personal and professional level. Everyone here knows what Paul meant to this franchise. He was both a tremendous human being as well as player here for 7 years. We thank Paul and his family for their contributions to the Pacers and wish him well. Hey everybody, welcome into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow alongside the NBA champion Rick Fox. And yet again, we are welcoming in our Hall of Famer David Aldridge to help break down the day in free agency. DA, welcome yet again.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. It's always good to be here.
Well, I'm glad you did because it's been a big day in free agency. Rudy Gay to San Antonio, $17 million over the next 2 years. How did that deal go down?
Well, look, Rudy turned down a lot of money over the last couple of weeks. He wanted to play for a team that had a chance to win, and San Antonio offered him the mid-level exception to come down there and be a part of it. And he's got an option after 1 year, so it's really an opportunity for him to reestablish himself coming off of a bad injury last season and show people that he's still worth a lot of money and that he's still a top player in this league. So a reasonable risk, a short contract for the Spurs, and an opportunity for Rudy to play by far on the best team he's ever been on in his career with a real opportunity to win. And that will be very marketable next year if he opts out and tries this again. And
he'll be wearing the number 22. Rick, how do you like the fit there?
It's a great fit for both sides, for Rudy as well as the Spurs. Wasn't sure if he'd take the sacrifice financially to put himself in a position to win. He's obviously proven that by this decision. We can look back recently to individuals who've been rewarded. J.R. Smith took a shorter deal, less money, went and played with the Cavs, won a championship, and obviously got rewarded with a bigger contract. He will win there, that's for sure. We know the Spurs win, and his addition, I think, there, giving them flexibility even at that power forward position, because he's played some four, it makes the Spurs a little stronger.
That is true. And DA, the Miami Heat also making moves with Kelly Olynyk, $50 million over the next 4 years. We're also hearing now reports that James Johnson will return to Miami on a 4-year deal as well.
Yeah, James Johnson was a priority for the Heat. He really, he was already a tough guy in this league, but he made himself into an even tougher guy, if you can imagine that, in Miami last season. Got into just incredible shape and had his best year, I think. And really bought into the program down there and the player development, the things that they do to make those guys better. He really bought in and wanted to stay. So that was not surprising that they kept him. Olynyk, a little surprising just because there were a lot of teams that were coming after him. I think Indiana had a real interest in him and a couple other places. But his ability to score, he showed you in the playoffs. He's had some great moments. We all remember Game 7 against the Wizards in the conference semifinals. So he had some real good moments in the playoffs. The guy who plays with a little bit of an edge, who can stretch the floor on nights maybe when they want to go a little smaller and not play Whiteside at the 5. Olynyk can play the 5, he can play the 4. It's a good pickup for them. It adds to their talent base. Miami, they do a really good job of getting guys to max out who they are. And so I'm sure that we will see Kelly Olynyk play at an even better and maybe more consistent level down there than he did in Boston.
And Rick, I saw your face when the Kelly Olynyk report was confirmed. 4 years, $50 million, and you like that pickup by Miami.
I do. I just like Kelly Olynyk's versatility. We've seen him have big games for the Celtics, playoff games at times. I like his physicality. I like the fact that he's been a part of a winning environment and has played a role in that. And now I think is ripe for an opportunity to have shoulder more responsibility. And I thought somebody smart and intelligent in the front office of some team would jump on him really quickly.
Well, speaking of smart, Marcus Smart potentially here, a necessary move for the Celtics, DA. What else is going to go on there in Boston? Are we looking at a Gordon Hayward sign and trade with Utah? What now is the possibility for the Celtics?
Well, they have to clear some more room to be able to bring Hayward into the slot that they want to put him in. So whether it's Jay Crowder in a sign and trade or Marcus Smart maybe to the Knicks, they're trying very hard to clear a little bit more cap room. so that they can put Gordon Hayward in there. So I think it'll get done eventually. It may take a little longer than everybody thought it would, but you know, you can't just trade 2 or 3 guys immediately. There's so many moving parts. There's so many teams that are looking specifically at free agents, not looking at trades, and don't have the room and all that sort of thing. So it has to be very specific in terms of teams and fits. So I think they'll get it done in the next couple of days and figure that out and be able to announce officially that Hayward's in there for good.
And Otto Porter has agreed to a max contract with Brooklyn. What, though, is left now for the Wizards to decide?
Well, look, they can take a few days to give him a physical and announce the physical. And, you know, they can take a little bit of time. But the net is they're going to match the offer. I know Brooklyn put some different provisions in there. This is stuff that teams used to do years ago, where you got to pay the whole amount, the whole year's salary up front before September 1st or before November 1st. Teams used to do that with restricted free agency. They don't do that much anymore, but I guess Brooklyn put a provision in that 50% of his salary would have to be paid by September 1st. They're not going to have a telethon for Ted Leonsis. He has the money, so I think it'll be okay. And they will match that offer, and then Brooklyn's going to have to move on to the next thing. I know they go after all these restricted free agents. I would throw a lot of money at a guy like Ian Clark. I got to tell you, a guy with the Warriors who put up numbers, who played well for them, a member of a championship team, a young guy that can grow with some of their other young guys. Rather than, I'm not saying max him out, I'm not saying offer him, $20 million a season, but I think you could get him, for a reasonable price. Those are the types of young players I'd be going after if I were the Nets.
And from a very young guy to a very, very old one, we love you, Vince Carter. 1 year, $8 million out to Sacramento, and he is doing this one more time around, DA, huh?
Yeah. It's so interesting that a 40-year-old is old in the NBA.
Yeah.
But it is. And so this is part of what Sacramento is doing, and I think it's a really good thing that they're doing, Kristen, is that they're really taking a template from Flip Saunders in Minnesota 2 years ago. Flip wanted very much to pair mentors and old veterans with his young guys when Towns was a rookie and Wiggins was just coming on board. And that's exactly what Sacramento's doing. They brought in George Hill to help De'Aaron Fox, their first-round pick. They brought in Zach Randolph to help Skal Labissiere and some of their young forwards. And now they bring in Vince Carter to help their young small forwards out. So it's really great pairing of professionals in every sense of the word with some young guys, professionals who still have a little bit of tread left on their tires and can show the young guys how to prepare and how to learn how to win in this league. And I just think it's a great move by the Kings.
And DA, Milos Teodosic has also agreed with the Clippers. What does this mean for that team, apart from the fact that we're hearing Patrick Beverley is going to have to change his hotel alias now? That was the name he was actually checking in under.
Well, look, Teodosic, I saw him at the Olympics last year in Rio. He was one of the 2 or 3 best players in the entire tournament. He was outstanding for Serbia. He is a prolific passer with the size at 6'5" to be able to play some 2-guard in the NBA. So they really like the potential pairings that they have. You can play him with Patrick Beverley. It's not a great scoring backcourt probably, but it's a pretty good defensive and passing backcourt. So you can play with Austin Rivers. There's all kinds of mixing and matching that they plan to do with him. Another thing to keep in mind, he is the type of passer. A lot of people thought when Chris Paul got traded, that was the end of Lob City. Well, no, the Clippers feel like Teodosic is a guy who can get the ball up to DeAndre Jordan. He can get the ball to Blake Griffin. So he'll be able to help them in that regard.
Not a bad gig if you can get it. Thank you so much, DA, for taking the time. Great work, as always.
Sure.
And Dirk Nowitzki has agreed to re-sign with the Dallas Mavericks for $10 million over the next 2 years. He's given his team the hometown discount and the second-year option. It'll be his 20th season, becoming the only other, apart from Kobe Bryant, to play 20 years with one franchise. Meanwhile, Zach Randolph headed out west. He's agreed with the Sacramento Kings after 8 seasons in Memphis. And the Grizz have announced that they're going to retire his number 50 with a sentimental statement saying that Zebo embodied the soul of the city. Rick?
Well, that's a huge honor and a nice compliment considering he hasn't even retired yet. Obviously, they appreciate what he's done. They voiced that. They're going to show it by hanging his jersey. And obviously, they want him to come back and be a part of that community. So Congratulations to him.
Well, this just in as well. We are hearing that Tim Hardaway Jr., who is a restricted free agent, has agreed to sign an offer sheet for 4 years and $71 million with the New York Knicks. The Summer League continued with Jayson Tatum, the 3rd overall pick, and his Boston Celtics taking on the Utah Jazz. Those two fan bases with a lot of communication in the last couple of days.
Yeah. It's good to see them actually get on the floor and work it out.
Why not, right? Tatum working in the post. The turnaround jumper, 12 points and 12 rebounds in this one, Rick.
I think he's established himself as at least a 3rd round pick. May have been the 1st.
Right, yeah. 3rd overall.
3rd pick, overall pick, yeah.
I think they knew what you meant.
Yeah.
But no need to give him a further chip on his shoulder, right?
Right.
The top rookies, though, getting tangled up here in this 4th quarter. Tied at 60, Donovan Mitchell stripping Jayson Tatum. Tatum fouling Mitchell. Mitchell staring down Tatum here.
Yeah, okay.
Not bad, right? You like to see a little bit of feistiness in Utah.
Well, like you said, there's been a lot of talk back and forth between the two organizations.
So why not?
These are the only guys representing anyone on the floor.
Look at that, though. Driving, spinning, finding Julian Wright for the slam at 62-60. Then Dante Exum driving in and getting it done inside. He had a team-high 16 points in this one as the Jazz go undefeated in the Utah Summer League. Markelle Fultz not playing in this one as the Sixers and Spurs go head-to-head. Bryn Forbes driving, getting the runner to go. Then Forbes yet again, this time off the screen, hitting the long jumper. He had 21 points, 7 of 17 from the field.
He's played exceptionally well. So has Fultz. And not in this game tonight, but
the Sixers with the turnover there. And that's Livio Jean-Charles with the spin and dunk on the other end. Spurs up 63-55. Then with 3.7 to go in the 3rd, that's James Blackman Jr. with a step-back jumper at the buzzer, cutting their deficit to 4. There's Larry Jude, the 2nd, driving, dishing to Isaiah Miles, the reverse layup and the foul. He'd missed that free throw, but did finish with 18 points and 7 rebounds. Pistons first-round draft pick Luke Kennard here with the Pistons and Mavericks in the Orlando Summer League Championship game, and he got hot from 3. The Pistons would go up by 10 in that 3rd quarter, Rick.
He kind of got hot from Summer League. I mean, he's had a really good Orlando showing so far.
Lorenzo Brown driving to the bucket with the posterization. Detroit still leading the way by 10 at that point late in the 3rd quarter, but Dallas keeping this thing close until the end. Keith Hornsby with the corner 3 to tie the game at 72 apiece. That game would eventually go to overtime. And guess who it would be keeping the Pistons in the game? He said he had a hot Summer League, Rick. The tough fadeaway to tie the game there. Then yet another 3.
Wow.
Off the inbounds pass, tying things at 81. Now with the game tied and 5 seconds to go, Jonathan Motley with the jumper in the paint to give the Mavs the win. And Dallas wins the championship in Orlando. Thunder and Pacers, PJ Leaf sitting out of this one. Josh Hustis for the dunk in that 2nd quarter. Indiana up 31-25. Johnson with the layup plus the foul here. He'd missed that free throw, but that would tie things up at 31 apiece. OKC would lead the way by 2 at the half. Jarnell Stokes helping the Pacers extend the lead. With the deflected pass, he'd get the jumper to go. Then he'd be found on the break as well for the layup. The Pacers up by 5, 60-55. Hustis there again in a late game situation, as we've seen a lot in Orlando. There for the left-handed tip-in. Then Trey McKinney-Jones with the jumper. And the and one opportunity. He'd make that free throw. The Pacers go on to win it 89-80. The Orlando Magic with the number 6 pick, Jonathan Isaac, sitting out with a strained left hip. Johnny O'Brien with the turnaround jump shot here in the 1st, tying things up at 10 apiece. Then Dwayne Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Driving layup. Charlotte up 35-30. Coach Frank Vogel keeping watch. He's got that summer look on, doesn't he?
Summer beard.
Bacon with 29 points and 8 rebounds in this one.
A little contract, too.
Not bad. Karnowski off the bench here with 20 points and 9 rebounds. There he is in a late game situation. Backing down.
Bully ball right there.
Getting it done inside. Charlotte up by 4, then Briante Weber to Jonathan O'Brien. Yet again, this time the top of the key for the 3. He had 23 points and 5 rebounds in this one. Charlotte goes on to win it 86-78.
Bam, bam.
Adebayo warming up, facing the New York Knicks. Frank Ntilikina sitting out of this one with a sore right knee. Jason Randall with the 3. He had 18 points and 6 rebounds in this one. And the Knicks' Kyle O'Quinn documenting this one from Orlando. There he is. We got to get him that official photographer vest from Russ.
Bogo got to get him a Quinn beard.
Rough game for Bam, though. 13 points, just 1 of 10 from the field.
He caught that one right there on the defensive end, though.
11 of 14 from the free throw line, though. Dotson with the deep 3. He'd get it to go. Then the missed alley-oop here from Bam, but Dotson with the rebound.
Passer makes a shooter.
He had 20 points in this one. The Knicks win it 91-72.